This week on The Outlook,
Penyelenggara bersama majlis sambutan ini.
Brunei makes being gay an offence punishable by death.
Menyentuh mengenai keberkatan ini. Beta ingin melihat
Anyone found guilty will be stoned to death in public.
We are a country that prides itself on being inclusive.
On this episode of The Outlook, we speak to someone who is living in Brunei and someone who has just escaped. This is The Outlook. LGBTI news, views and culture brought to you by NewsHub. Welcome to The Outlook. The announcement that Brunei is implementing Sharia law has outraged people around the world, especially those in the LGBTQI community. There have been protests outside hotels owned by the Sultan of Brunei, and Hollywood celebrities George Clooney and Ellen DeGeneres have called for boycotts of all hotels, assets and the national airline of Brunei. Here's what New Zealand's Prime Minister had to say when asked about the situation.
We've obviously made very strong statements. We are a country that prides itself on being inclusive, on defending human rights. Obviously, the moves that they have made fly in the face of both our opposition to the death penalty, but also our principles around inclusion and human rights.
Winston Peters too, outraged. In a statement, he said,
"It is seriously regrettable that Brunei's decision contravenes a number of international norms on human rights. New Zealand opposes any kind of discrimination, including on the basis of sexual orientation. We are also deeply concerned at the use of punishments that are cruel, inhumane, or degrading. New Zealand is a long-standing opponent of the use of the death penalty in all cases and in all circumstances."
So what is it like for those people on the ground who are gay and live in a country where this means they could essentially be put to death because of it? In a moment, we'll be speaking to someone we'll call Khairul. His identity we've kept hidden. But first, Sharan Sheeran used to live in Brunei, but escaped at the end of last year. He was put on trial after posting a status on Facebook that was seen as anti-government. He fled to Canada, and that's where he spoke to me from this weekend. Are there people that are out in Brunei?
Not there, no. It's like, there are a few people, there was one DJ. She would put the rainbow flag on her social media, but she would never say that she was out.
Yeah.
It was always very suspicious, very quiet.
Was there an underground scene though, like people using phone apps, or is there anything like that wasn't quite official?
It's all online.
Yeah.
It's Grindr, the usual app. Before that came along in 2008, we were on gaydar.co.uk and gay.com.
Would you socialise with people that you met on apps, or is it literally just conversation or hooking up, or do you feel safe if you meet someone on an app to actually meet them in person?
That's what people usually do, would meet up and then size each other up and stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would miss each other because they give such vague descriptions.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a white shirt and blue jeans. Everybody here is wearing a white shirt and blue jeans.
How strictly will this be enforced? There are some countries around the world where it's illegal to be gay, but it's not enforced. You're never going to be arrested for it. What's it going to be like there? Mm. Will the police and the government actively be going to look for members of the LGBTIQ community and arrest them?
I do remember in the past decade there's been a few raids on the more visible members of the LGBTQ community, people people who are mostly trans.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
Because and sexual cross-dressers, people who obviously who stand out. And they used to gather in certain areas of the town. Behind the Anglican church in town used to be a big hangout for them. Certain areas downtown. And then these raids frightened them into going underground.
Yeah.
When the raids first happened, after a few months, they would come back and then move to a different area of the town, right?
Mm.
But it's happened so often, like half a dozen times, that people have stopped. They don't really they don't really gather anymore. The members of the trans community.
Yeah.
There's a distinct possibility that there will be arrests from now on for people being gay and stuff. And the problem with that is, I know that the punishment for being gay, the burden of proof is too high, right? Most people will never achieve that because
Right.
You need four people to witness you having gay sex, and then. In my book, there's an orgy, right? You know.
Yeah. You're all guilty if
why
that's
don't
the
we,
case.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't we
Yeah.
specify on each other? But you don't have to reach that level of evidence in order to throw somebody in jail, right?
Right.
Maybe just having the Grindr app on your phone might be sufficient.
Right.
We don't know. It's
Okay.
not listed in the
Yeah.
in the laws. It's very hard and very difficult to think how kind of film you target, right? Because I know George Clooney and Elton John and Ellen DeGeneres have their own boycotts of the Sultan's hotels.
Yeah.
Those hotels are vanity projects, seriously. They're bought with spare change from the oil industry that Brunei had, from the royal coffers. So hitting them will probably affect a few royals' allowances for the week, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's not going to affect the country.
No.
But what it does, those boycotts, especially by celebrities, it focuses attention on Brunei.
Yes.
It makes people look at Brunei.
What has life in Canada brought you? What are you doing, and what is it like living in a place that is a whole lot more free than when you came from?
It is like, I think I went a little bit nuts when I first came here.
Yeah.
It is, my Grindr just went. And I was like, oh, he's black, and he's white, and there's so many men. Like, you know,
Yeah.
so hard to choose. Maybe I should choose them all. Like, and at times I did. It's been wonderful, to say the least.
Yeah.
But it really illustrates the difference between Brunei. But even in the UK, it's so much more different from Vancouver. I got the answer like a week after I came here, and I was in the supermarket, and then in front of me were two gay men,
Yeah.
and they were holding hands, and then they were like arguing in the middle of the supermarket, and then people first holding hands, then arguing, and then people that didn't even bat an eye, like, they just walk past, and I was like, oh, they're a normal couple.
Oh, you've got such a great spirit. It's been so nice talking to you. And again, thank you so much. I know that you've had a lot of media attention over the last 24 to 48 hours, so it is really cool that you've taken the time to speak to someone in little old New Zealand. Now, tracking down someone willing to talk in Brunei wasn't easy. Most people don't want to speak up for fear of being identified. But we did find one. We'll call him Khairul. Khairul gets by basically being straight acting. He can't be himself not only in his day-to-day life, but also living with his family. They're homophobic and heavily religious. I spoke to him in the early hours of this morning.
Yeah, well, in all honesty, it's not really something scary or amazing or fun at all. It's pretty quiet, per se. As long as you don't really admit yourself to be gay in public, it shouldn't be a problem or act like a certain way, so it won't cause any distress from the other people.
So essentially, if you're straight acting, you can get away with it?
Yeah, as long as you don't act gay in public. The easiest way to make connections between in the gay community for me is that we sometimes use dating apps like Grindr or Growler. Or in social networks, there's sometimes online communities where some LGBT from Brunei are in there.
Do you feel restrained in how you have to be in yourself? Do you feel like you're not getting to be yourself?
Yeah, there is that the feeling of being restrained, of unable to be open with myself, because between me and my family, it's a really hard time for me, especially because they don't know that I'm gay, and they don't know that I'm different, and they are very homophobic. Religion, for Muslim Bruneians, I guess it's both at the same time, because religion is a part of their lives in the past, ever since Islam was introduced in Brunei or enforced.
What are the reasons that you would stay there? I mean, do you think about moving overseas to a country where you could live a gay life quite safely?
When I was a bit younger, yes, I do travel with my family a bit. I do travel with my family, visiting mostly Asian countries.
Yeah.
Never been to a Western or European country.
So, what do your day-to-day life? Is it constantly on your mind that you are hiding who you are, or is it just you're so used to doing that it doesn't bother you so much?
Honestly, for me, I kind of got used to it, but back then, nowadays, I kind of got used to the idea of being hiding myself, because my support system is that I have some friends that I hang out with. Some of them do know that I'm gay, most don't, because I tried not, and nowadays I can't really say anything about it with the new law, because we don't know what the government might do. What they're planning next. However, what we do notice the Sultan wants is more a stronger Islamic studies.
Do you worry that they would try and make an example of someone?
There hasn't been any cases of it yet in the past. However, now with the new law, we're not sure if they would or would not.
Yeah. So the people I'll let you go in a second, but the people that you talk to on apps, is it quite confined to just the app or any hooking up, or do you maintain friendships and then hang out in real life, or is it just not safe to do that?
Personally, I'm a shy person. I don't usually talk to people, but
Yep.
when I do talk to people, when they do talk to me, it's more or less a no strings attached fun.
Yeah, you don't even really share any kind of information about your personal lives or anything. It's just
it's just for fun. I mean, the best way to be able to have a conversation, to find the people who is willing to chat with, is either you know them in person before you found out they were gay, or you go on you'll search for LGBT communities online.
Yeah.
Some of them might be in there. I guess what I would say here is that to all the people in New Zealand who's listening to this, I would say Brunei is not a bad country. It's just the mistakes of the people, which is the government.
Finally, before we wrap up this episode of The Outlook, I wanted to share with you some of the conversation that I had with Shahran towards the end of the interview. He asked how us New Zealanders were doing after the attacks in Christchurch. I thought I'd share this with you so you can hear just how much our love, respect and tolerance has meant to everyone around the world.
I think for the first time since I came to Canada, I went to a mosque to pray. And then...
what was the mood like?
We were upset. We were really upset, I feel a bit emotional now, thinking about it. Give me a sec. Okay.
Hey, I feel exactly the same way. So
yeah, but what I saw was people in Canada, people in the surrounding community, they were giving flowers to the mosque, and they were saying like, "We're on your side," and I thought it was beautiful. It had a huge effect on most Muslims, especially people like me who are in exile. And I hope people in Brunei could see that, because with New Zealand showing how the solidarity that they have with the Muslim community there, it had an effect on the people of Brunei. I saw a lot of people expressing surprise, and then they were like, people were coming together.
Yeah.
And then that's a beautiful thing to see. And I hope Brunei learns from it.
And that's The Outlook for this week. Get in touch, The Outlook at mediaworks.co.nz, or leave us a message by calling 0800 002 898, or on Facebook, just search for News Hub Podcasts. Until next time, take care of each other.